Okay, so I don't normally do this, but I just got an email that is either so stupid or actually genius. And here's what it says. $39 buys the thockiest stock budget keyboard 2025? What? Hi, Hipyo Tech. I've never owned a mechanical keyboard until a few days ago. I watched your YouTube videos for weeks while researching and learning. I landed on a Kisnt K85 for $39. I'm stunned, trying to figure out what B-Sun switches it really has. Please review it. Thanks, Darren. Here's the problem. I've never made a video on this keyboard. How did Darren find this keyboard? Did he just search cheapest keyboard on Amazon? Well, there's actually a link that Darren gave me. It's real, and it's $39. So I responded with, okay, I'll check it out. And let's just hit. I bought it. Also, how many of you think that I need to make these Howdy Hey jackets? If you want one, leave a comment down below. Maybe I'll make one. Now, I'm gonna try the cheapest keyboard on Amazon so you don't have to.
But there's just one problem. And if you're a Hipyo Tech subscriber, you know that last year I looked at all of the best budget keyboards on Amazon under $50. And none of them were that particularly great. Because when building a keyboard, you have to cut corners to make it cheap as well. So what corners did they cut?
First, we're gonna determine, is Darren a dirty, rotten liar? Or is this actually the thockiest $39 keyboard ever? How do we do that? We're gonna unbox it, we're gonna put it to the test, and I'm gonna tell you whether or not you should waste your money on this thing. So stick around.
Now it's worth noting that when I made this video, this keyboard was actually $36 because of a sale on Amazon. And I'll have it linked down below for you to check for yourself. That also means 2-day delivery and 30-day returns if this thing arrives broken. But that's enough preface, let's get to the unboxing.
I'm not expecting much. This box is incredibly boring, but hey, at least it has labels on it. And I've unboxed a variety of keyboards, from cheap to incredibly expensive. And here's a keyboard. I'm gonna look at it in just a second. Because first, we have to pretend that we're gonna read the manual and take a gander at the accessories. Which, wait, that's more than I expected.
Now, as far as the accessories go, you get your basics. You get a cable, you get keycaps. Wait, keycaps aren't basic. Why are extra keycaps included in a budget keyboard? You also get a switch puller. Wait, switch puller? And spare switches as well? What is going on here? It was at this point I began to wonder, is this some kind of money laundering thing? Like, what are they doing here?
But what about the keyboard? We're here for the keyboard. Well, guys, this is gonna shock you. Now, I'm gonna need you to sit down for this. It's a keyboard. Okay, but on the real note, it's ridiculously plastic. It feels heavier than I was expecting. We're gonna have to investigate that later. Now, this is the Kisnt K85. If you're like me, you've never heard of Kisnt before. My first thought was like when you're on a date and you ask someone, can I have a kiss? And they respond, Kisnt. At a glance, this is a 75% keyboard with a little bit of extra room over here. 75% keyboards are the most popular layout, so it's really nice to see a super cheap option there. And as we look at this thing, we're gonna keep an eye out for a few things that make a keyboard good. Number 1, sound. Number 2, feel. Number 3, did they lube your stabilizers? Is there foam in this keyboard? Does it have RGB or hot swappability? Does it even work as a keyboard? And don't worry, if you have no idea what any of that means, I'll get into that later because I'm trying to make this video a little bit beginner friendly. And honestly, it does look simply nice. You don't have cheap gamer aesthetic. It's not, rattly and terrible. Like, I think there's some potential here. But how do you get a keyboard this cheap? What corners are you cutting? Why am I getting closer to the camera? Well, obviously with a plastic case, you've cut that corner, but look at the bottom here. You've got, wait. It has RGB on a $40 keyboard? What? Surely this thing is gonna be not hot swappable. They've cut every corner in the book to make this thing cheap, right? Wait, they cut corners, right? Okay, so the keycaps aren't one of the first corners that they cut because these are relatively decent double shot PBT keycaps. In fact, a set of these would probably cost you $10 to $25 depending on the color scheme and the layout, and I'm having trouble here. This is not supposed to be this good. I was really expecting this to not be this good. Is Darren a goat? Okay, but here's the thing. You remember what Darren said? Trying to figure out what B-Sun switches it really has. B-Sun? That's a name I haven't heard in quite a while. Are they making good switches again? Let's pull this bad boy out. Wait, I just pulled out the switch. This thing is hot swap too? What? And wait, the LEDs are south facing. Did they do their research? Guys, I think they did their research. Oh, what am I gonna do? This keyboard, they're doing everything right. I didn't think they'd do everything right. I thought they'd do everything wrong. I thought, no, guys, there's no reason. Don't buy a $39 keyboard. That's so lame. Okay, we have to dig deeper. Hi, Hipyo digging deeper here. I couldn't figure out the exact B-Sun switch model that this was, but they're stupidly smooth. The fact that I can have this keyboard be entirely stock, who even mods switches anymore? Now, as far as the wireless performance goes, there's really not a great way I can test it. Like, I used this keyboard as my daily driver for a few days, and on wireless mode, on the Windows setting, guess what? It worked. Now, I didn't do a lot of gaming. I didn't do a lot of anything that would require good latency. So could I tell you whether or not this thing will hold up for gaming? No, I can't. But maybe in the future, I'll have some equipment for latency testing. Please send thoughts and prayers my way. I'm working on it really hard. So if you value wireless performance, I don't think you're gonna get reliability here. But maybe you will. I genuinely don't know. Now, if you're new to keyboards and you're like, holy cow, Hipyo, what are you doing? You're using all these buzzwords, you're using all this jargon, I'm lost, I'm confused. Well, howdy hey, I can help you out with that. Let's start with hot swappable switches. Now, what this keyboard has is the fact that you can remove your switch and replace it with any other switch without needing to solder or desolder. This is a feature that you typically only see in more expensive keyboards, often twice the price, or with some big sacrifices. For example, usually your LEDs are north-facing, meaning that you might get interference on your middle row, which makes your switches sound worse. So hot swappability means that you can learn your keyboard preference after you buy your keyboard by testing out a bunch of new switches. But here's the thing, these are so good. And you're probably wondering, what makes a switch good? Well, a bad switch is often really scratchy and sounds not very pleasing to the ear. It doesn't feel as good to type on, meaning that when you type on it all day long, not as good. Bit of a no-brainer. A good switch is incredibly smooth. It might sound really pleasing and thocky and deep, or maybe clacky and bright. It's all down to preference. So then what could they have done wrong in this keyboard? Well, maybe it just doesn't work as a keyboard. We'll test that out later, of course. Or maybe they've cut some corners on the inside, so I'm gonna have to take this thing open. But how does it sound? How does it feel? The most important questions. It's a $39 keyboard. It's probably gonna sound terrible. It's probably gonna feel terrible. There's probably no reason that Darren should have ever slid into my emails and told me anything about this. Where has this been my whole life? This keyboard is genuinely incredible. For $39? I guess I'm done. I guess I don't need to be a keyboard YouTuber anymore. Let's pack it up. Keyboards are done. Yeah, this is it. It's 39 bucks. It sounds good. It feels good. But wait, there's more. Before I write everything off, let's get this thing open and let's see what kind of corners they did cut on the inside. And the first thing you'll notice, how the hell do you get it open? But why would we want to get it open? A good hallmark of a good custom keyboard means that you can actually customize it by taking it apart, changing out the insides, removing foam, adding foam, everything that might slightly modify your keyboard experience. So, how do we get it open? This one's honestly not too hard. You take this guy, there's a little bit of clips. The clips aren't too aggressive. We pop them out, easy peasy, bazinga. Whoa. Oh, that's interesting. I was wondering why my keyboard felt a little bit uneven to type on. And the silicone is like half folded in on itself. The battery's just free floating in there. Okay, that's insane. They have a full silicone sheet in here. Like, this is a pretty hefty mod to make your keyboard sound and feel a little bit better, especially when it's plastic. How did they include this in the keyboard so cheap? And then even your plate assembly has foam in between it. You have gasket mounts, which give you a bouncier typing experience. Granted, you don't really feel it on a keyboard like this. I'm so confused. They've included like everything that I expect from a keyboard that's $100, except the keyboard isn't metal, I guess. Maybe this battery could explode. The quality control wasn't that great on the inside, but it's $39. Okay, and update. After fixing the foam that was inside the keyboard, which took roughly 1 minute, this thing does have a bouncy gasket typing experience, meaning that it feels pretty damn nice. Wow. But there's one thing that could still ruin this. Software. Does it have any? Is it malware? Probably. Is there software? Now, they have a website. Granted, my internet provider is really terrified of it and doesn't want to let me connect to it. We're gonna do it anyways for you guys. Oh no, it actually won't let me. Okay, wow. Oh, I saw it for a second. So they had a website that I could have downloaded the software from, but my ISP blocks it because it's sketchy, I guess. So I can't test the software. We found it. We found the con. We found the one thing wrong with this keyboard. Software could be malware. So that's not good. Now, if you guys are having trouble grasping just how good this thing sounds, let me do a bit of an experiment. Here's a keyboard that costs around $200-ish. That is a lot more expensive. Granted, it's full aluminum, different layout, whatever. Ignore that part. Sounds incredibly clacky, which is something somebody might like. But if you like deep, thocky sounds, that's insane. If all you care about is the sound and the feel, similar competition. But that's not all you care about, right? You care about more than just sound and feel, right? No. What's the point of custom keyboards? What's the point of custom keyboards? What's the point of custom keyboards if you can buy this for 40 bucks? Well, actually, there's still quite a few points for custom keyboards, and you should check out one of my last videos on that, because you can't customize that much about this thing. And if you really care about personalizing your desk experience, then it still matters. But if you don't care about customizing your keyboard and you just want to try it, or even steal the switches and keycaps off of it, this thing is absolutely insane. And you know what? I'd like to give a formal apology to Darren and a thank you to Darren for telling me about this keyboard. Because without a doubt, this is the best budget keyboard on Amazon. And maybe you should try it too. But that's not important right now. We want to hear, does this thing thawk? Does it thawk? Is it thawky? Maybe.